Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm your host, Prickly Hedgehog, and I hope this video finds you well and sitting down, because after years of asking, years of begging, years of speculation, and years of whinging from the Brits, the Tornado is finally going to be a third-party DCS module. For the Brits, this will be especially good news, but the only fly in their tea will be that the third-party developer Aviastorm Simulations are going to make a German variant. At least, that's what we know for now. Now, without doubt, this is going to be one of those modules that the community has been begging for. It's been on the wish list for years, as I said, along with things like the Phantom and, of course, more recently, the Eurofighter, which is all eagerly awaited for, including the A6 as well, which is a personal favorite, and some of these are coming from Heatblur. So this is a new developer for us, and what it will mean is being able to fly with a friend on daredevil low-level missions at ludicrous speeds to conduct interdiction strikes against enemy targets. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Now, Aviastorm are producing a 1989 variant. This will be the MRCA-PA 200 Tornado IDS, which stands for Interdiction Strike. The aircraft, of course, has its origins way back in the late 1960s, and it was a project that saw cooperation between Britain, Germany, and Italy to combat the perceived threat of potential Soviet aggression and produce an aircraft capable of both conventional and nuclear strike. Now, according to the ED blurb, the aircraft was built in 3 variants, including the IDS one. Not mentioned in the blurb are the Tornado ECR, or Electronic Combat Reconnaissance. Let's try that again. Electronic Combat Reconnaissance, and the Tornado ADV, or Air Defense variant. While the airframe isn't ideally suited to air-to-air combat, say compared to the F-16 of the era, it is a very valuable asset as a multi-role fighter bomber, the latter being something that it really excels at. Missions in Desert Storm, of course, did see some changes in traditional tactics to avoid ground threats, following high-profile losses and, of course, pilot capture and torture. Obviously, NATO doctrine changed with the times. Nevertheless, as mentioned before, that low-level interdiction is going to be thrilling stuff in DCS world for fans of the aircraft, and with the Navigator bomber role with a friend should provide some real fun for co-op play in the future. There's no word yet on if we will see other variants in the future, and the developer's website is pretty scant on details just yet. One of the more interesting features of the aircraft are those RB199 Mark 103 engines, I believe producing around about 17,000 pounds of thrust or a little more. Now, a rarity in military combat jets, they actually have a reversed thrust feature and capacity to shorten landing distances. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that is modeled in the game, because none of our other aircraft, as far as I'm aware, have that reversed thrust capability. Some, of course, do rely on the parachute to help slow it down, but this is going to be a new one for a combat jet in Eagle Dynamics' DCS world. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that is modeled. It's a pretty cool feature. Now, according to ED, the Aviastorm's team has a lot of experience in the simulation and gaming industry. They have also secured access to many resources, including pilots, engineers, WSOs, technicians, and museums to provide the information that they need to produce what they plan will be the best simulation of the German IDS Tornado in the virtual world. Like I said, no news yet on if there will be other variants and whether there will be other nations' aircraft such as the British or the Italian Tornadoes. That may come at a much later date. For now, I'm just very, very excited about this announcement, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the developers have to say in the future about the aircraft's developmental progress and also providing future updates to us. So let me know what you think of this latest announcement. With all of these announcements and features that ED are giving to us right now, they must be asking the community, "Are you not entertained?" Because it certainly is a little bit overwhelming, all of these modules and announcements flooding the DCS community right now. It's really not exactly a bad thing, and I know some people have been asking for more focus on core things, but I think it's important to remember that the third-party developers that we're seeing right now generally are not going to impact too much on the core business that ED has running, which of course continues to focus on development of aircraft that we have, and of course the big one, fixing those bugs and stabilizing the game as much as possible so that we can all enjoy this fantastic flight sim. There's still work to be done, like I said, and we're establishing a really broad base of aircraft to really play and explore with in an increasingly diverse map environment if all these third-party developers come on board and all of these maps and modules and things come online in the future. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how all of this comes to play in the game in the future. Of course, the Tornado will also join the F-14 as one of our swing wing aircraft, along with the AI version of the B-1 Lancer. Sadly, just an AI version. That would be a cool aircraft as well. But also, hopefully in the future here, Razbam's version of the MiG-23, which is showing some signs of progression, although we're still a little in the dark as to exactly where that module is at. But any kind of more complete-looking images is generally going to be a good sign, and hopefully that is a signal that we're going to see some more development and more announcement information about that. Of course, they are busy with the F-15E product that they've also been showcasing a lot lately, including in particular the air-to-ground radar, which has been the focus of several short videos on Twitter. Like the Tornado, the Mudhen excels at dropping bombs, typically, of course, from higher altitudes than the Tornado, but it's really going to be interesting to compare the two jets given their role similarities. Of course, expect the F-15 to perform very well at higher altitudes over the Tornado, which is happier skirting among the trenches and valleys. That's its natural habitat. That's what it was designed to do in that lower, thicker air. Nevertheless, it's going to be really cool to see all of these aircraft in, say, mass exercises and red flag campaigns or similar situations. I can even see perhaps the Kola map in the future being a lovely playground for both of these aircraft. So stay tuned. We'll see how things develop. Now, in other less sensational news this week, but nonetheless important, ED advised that they have now created the ability to switch seats in multiplayer. So this is coming soon to both the Apache and the Hind. This was an oft-requested feature for players wanting the flexibility of either working with an AI and being able to pop in the seat that they wanted, or with another human player. Now, flying solo, the AI will simply flop to the other unoccupied seat. If you're flying with a friend, you will end up in the pilot seat, and the other human player will be teleported to the gunner or CPG seat. So good news there for those of you who are looking forward to using that feature. As mentioned, it's been a requested thing for quite a lot of time now, and it will be extremely handy for all sorts of combat and training scenarios for virtual squadrons as well, I suspect. So nice job, ED. Now, the last snippet of news from the ED team, they advise that Growling Sidewinder has, as a reminder, a very popular open conflict PvP server. For those of you who are looking to dive into PvP instant action style combat, you get hot jet starts and no weapon restrictions, and you get to go against your adversaries as you see fit. So check that out if that's your thing. If you're looking for some sweaty palms and sweaty pits and a little bit of tension in your life. If you're looking for something a little less intense but still want to learn a little bit more about features of air combat and how DCS can be used in that way, in this case, we're going to be using the Hornet. Don't forget to check us out at the Air Warfare group. We are attached to Tactical DCS's Discord. But you'll also find some interesting videos about DCS World and air warfare combat in general on the YouTube channel that we have for the Air Warfare group. Now, over the next few months, we are going to be on a Mediterranean cruise, and as we work our way up to increased realism and proficiency in these missions, basically airmanship around the boat and the Syrian map in general, we'll be using the Hornet for these missions, and there's going to be a series of clips that we will be able to show you that will hopefully demonstrate some of the things that you can do with DCS World, and hopefully will be of useful information to people looking to learn a little bit more about the aircraft. We plopped up a couple of clips this week covering basics like formation lights and the FPAS system in the Hornet to help you dip into some of the aircraft's more useful features and how to use it while you're flying in a team environment. So I hope you find that useful. Again, good resource for you. That is the Air Warfare group, which I'm part of. We're going to be doing a lot of flying, like I said, over the next few months, and I'm really looking forward to the challenge. Hopefully my work schedule doesn't change too much. I'm under threat really right now of having to go back to the front line, so to speak, to help out. But out of the office, I've been in the office role for quite a while now, but it looks like we're going to have a switch up, and I'm going to be used in a different capacity, and my tenure was almost up anyway, so it was a time for a little bit of a switch up. So we'll see how that works out. Hopefully it doesn't have too much of an impact, but right now I'm not entirely sure how that's going to pan out. I guess this really brings us then to another DCS SITREP end for this week. Thanks for all the support recently as we continue to chug our way to the 10,000 subscribers goal that I have for 2022. Hopefully by the end of the year. So hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment. And of course, you're also invited to support the channel through the super thanks button if you enjoyed the content today and want to see the channel carry on. Either way, stay tuned for more news next week. And of course, more information from the Air Warfare group as we get another Sunday training in this week. We'll see you next time on the DCS Situation Report. Cheers.